What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us. This is the first inaugural brand new dopest podcast, the QA. And I'm your host, Anthony Kennedy, aka antpooh. Some of y'all might know me from the Prince podcast, as well as a number of different dope shows I've did with Podcast Juice. I've written for The Source. I've been with Snoop Dogg and all of them, and done a number of different things for Konami. And I'm joined, as always, by my young millennial youngin by the name of Meriah. How you doing today?
Hey, Anthony. I'm Meriah. Like he said, you guys don't know me yet, but I'm an aspiring writer. I'm a lover of all things science fiction, fantasy, comics, and Disney. So
Disney? You really putting Disney separate from all of that? Like Disney is up on that plateau?
I have to, because I'm a 90s baby and the Disney Channel is a big part of me.
Now, when I say you're a millennial, please tell everybody your age and what year you were born.
I'm 27. I was born in 1990, and I don't even associate myself as a millennial. So,
oh boy, so this is going to be a struggle of a show to be doing. I know she has a lot of knowledge, but damn it, that youngness in her, that Similac still on her breath, I'm gonna have to school her just a little bit. At the same time, she brings me into the millennials with all of her different anime and all her new fangled cartoons and shows.
I love anime. Put that in there with my fangirling, please. Anime is my favorite.
Now, this is a show you can bring in two different generations together. Me, I'm a Gen Xer, 70s child. I grew up on the after-school cartoon shows, the Saturday morning cartoons, as well as my love of comic books and sci-fi, Star Wars, and all that. The original trilogy, not that late 90s prequels that these millennial babies swear is the gospel. And then we have our millennial who's used to all of this new stuff, grew up on Pixar, not the old animated Disney stuff, who's grown up with comic book superhero films every year, from Blade to X-Men to MCU to the DCEU, instead of us dealing with Incredible Hulk and all that other whack stuff. So
wait, I grew up on Saturday morning cartoons too.
No, but you grew up on Teen Titans Go.
No, I grew up on Recess and Rocket Power. And
okay, you're not helping your cause. Get out of here with that.
Out of the box.
But at the same time, there's a lot of respect here. So this is what we're going to be bringing you each and every episode. And we hope you stay along for the ride, as we have a lot of great things planned this year to expose you to and bring you breaking news, as well as our best recap or reviews of some of the upcoming TV shows, films, comics, and video games.
Yay.
There's the excitement there. Yes. Anyway, now, as we like to do, there was a new television show that debuted this week, a new comic book themed television show. It seems like CW just cannot get enough of having superhero shows on their television screen. And this time, we got a brother. That's right. Wednesday, Black Lightning debut, starring Cress Williams. For some of us, we may remember him as Scooter from Living Single. Well, he kicked Khadijah's ass to the curb. He went to Chicago, or some stand-in for it within the Arrowverse being the Berlanti string of shows. Started with, of course, Arrow, moved on to The Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, and all of those. And he's married. Well, actually, he was married. Now he's divorced. He has two fine daughters.
High schoolers. I'm gonna need you to.
Okay, one is. You're right. One is.
Yeah.
But the other one is going to law school. So fair game.
Calling the police on you.
Whatever. And now he has lightning superpowers. Apparently, as we catch up with the show, he's been retired for 9 years. I guess his wife is like, you know what? That's great that you think Black Lives Matter and you want to get rid of black on black crime, but you got wife and kids. I need you to handle this. And so the first episode starts with the youngest daughter with a big message for all of you young and teenagers out there. Leave those top gang thugs alone, or you could be working at the Seizure again, putting in that work, so to speak. Meriah, did you see the first episode, and what was your thoughts?
I did see it, and you gotta cut me some slack here because I'm not familiar with the storyline of Black Lightning.
That's fine. Nobody is. And that's no disrespect to the character. It's just that...
Sure how it's supposed to be. Well, I would say I'm really happy about the prospect that it'll be like a crime-fighting family. Almost like The Incredibles, but the Black version in real life.
I like that.
You don't see a whole lot of crime-fighting families, and the way that, I don't know if this is going to be a spoiler for some of you guys, but the way that the episode
No, we can go ahead and spoil it.
Huh?
No, we can go ahead and spoil it. It's 24 hours you have.
Well, with the end of the show, it ends with his daughter's powers manifesting. I like the fact that it's a hereditary thing, and I like the fact that there's a prospect that they will be fighting together as a crime-fighting family. Because, again, there hasn't been any famous crime-fighting families besides The Incredibles. The idea of that is just blows my mind as it is. I was going to boycott the show at first because I don't want a Black Lightning. I wanted a Static Shock.
Oh, yeah. See, there they go. Here's the millennials again. Forget that old school stuff. We want what I saw in the set. Now I will give you, I'll cut you some slack because Static Shock was a dope ass Saturday morning cartoon show. I got to give respect where it's due, especially to Dwayne McDuffie. Tip my hat to him. They
also touched on a lot of Black issues back then before they were as relevant as they are today too. But no, it was a good show. I'm hoping they stick with the whole narration thing. I don't know if you ever watched The Vampire Diaries on the CW.
Yes, please enlighten me on that.
They started with, it's called The Vampire Diaries. In the book, it's her diary that you're basically following along with. And they started off the show with her narrating and writing in her diary. But towards the end of the second season, all the way up to like the fourth, they stopped with it. It completely just falls off. It's just a regular show after that. I liked his daughter narrating. I hope they stick with that for a while. Kind of like Riverdale, that's on CW right now. How Jughead is the narrator.
Oh.
It always starts with him narrating and ends with him narrating.
Now, do you watch that show? As I see it, as my daughter watches it as well, and she swears by it. Is that like the new millennial version of maybe 90210, Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
It's not really sci-fi, or it's not really fantasy like that. Buffy's vampires.
Okay. But yeah, props to this show. On the one hand, it's more of an urban take of a superhero, which you got to give a shout out to the Akils, Mary Brock Akil, Salim Akil. They've been doing the work for decades, bringing urban themed shows to television. So I watched this. We are getting a superhero. We're also getting them tackling racism. The very first scene, the brother is getting stopped by the police. He's being pretty much roughed up and treated bad and placed in front of an older Asian woman and asked to identify him as apparently the robber of a store. Now, I think as the series progresses, we're going to see what that dynamic has been between Jefferson Pierce, that's Black Lightning's alter ego. He's a principal, of course. Educated black man as also a superhero, husband and father. Now, you damn sure don't see that in most of your television shows. So when you're seeing him have this interaction with the police, which is something that's relatable to a majority Black audience who more than likely are probably the main ones watching this show, and then you're seeing him at the same time, he doesn't get drawn back in because there's a calling. I like the fact that he stepped away from being a superhero because his wife pretty much said, I can't handle this. I can't deal with this. I can't have your kids dealing with this. Spoilers. Yeah, it's almost been a week. Spoilers. One time, we get a flashback that he comes home after fighting crime. I believe he had maybe some bullet holes, but definitely some wear and tear of fighting crime. And as she's giving this impassioned speech about, I know you're doing this for the greater good, but your family can't deal with this. His oldest daughter walks into the bathroom and sees them. And that's somewhat, as we're led to believe, is enough to scare him into, okay, I'm going to hang this up. Now, what's so interesting is that as we pick this up in the present day, they're divorced. Yet Jefferson is still holding out hope that he's going to get his family back together. Never mind, it appears either, I think she's the assistant, is checking up on him.
I don't like the idea that they had the wife saying, I don't want you doing this anymore. how many comic books and storylines have we found, but they, the stereotype strong black woman behind every black man, and this one's telling him don't do it. How are you going to tell him not to be himself?
Now, see, this is why I have you on the show, because you can bring that female perspective. And not that it should be upon you, but it's just refreshing. You don't have that out there, but you're going to get it here, goddammit. As a woman, as a young woman, and you are mixed as well. How do you feel at that portrayal of the black women on this show?
Well, I don't think it necessarily goes to just black women. I think all women are strong. They're the backbone of pretty much every strong couple and man out there that's doing big work. Not saying that they can't do it on their own.
I don't know. Kim and Kanye? I don't know.
Kanye's crazy, though. Anyway, no, I don't like the fact that she stuck with him. She had kids with him. She knew he was doing this in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, I don't want you doing it anymore because I can't take this anymore. You knew what you were signing up for. You knew what he was before you had kids with him. And then all of a sudden you're going to say, I can't have you doing this anymore. And then when it comes down to your kid, okay, go out and do this.
I like how you put that in there at the end, because I was just about to wait a minute. Then you had to throw the shot in about the kid.
I have a kid of my own. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But all these people are somebody's kids. All this danger, it never ends. You need somebody to fight it. We have police officers that do it on the daily basis. It's the same principle. People that marry police officers aren't saying, well, we're married now, I don't want you to be a police officer. No, that's their job. They love it. That's what they do. That's what calls to them. And the fact that this strong black woman not only tells him he can't do it, but then leaves him after he stops. Like, he gave up the biggest part of himself for you and your family.
Yeah, but see, at the same time, I like the way that they are telling that story, because it has people talking. Because I was just about to hit you, in real life, there are these relationships that do occur with first responders, whether they be police, whether it be firefighters, whether they be military. And there is a time where you do have a decision. What I like is we're seeing a black family doing that. And, normally, I hate to be that guy. You're seeing it with the devious side. Somebody's in the game. We have Power. We had The Wire. So to see it being on the good side of the law and the superhero, I think that's very, very much so interesting. Now, at the same time, how much are you pissed off at Jennifer Pierce, Black Lightning's daughter? Because that, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to demean her, but that dumb ass really got,
I'm not honestly that mad.
How so? Please defend this.
It's a normal thing that teenagers do.
Okay.
The fact that she's ridiculously sheltered because her dad is who he is, and she doesn't know he is who he is.
Okay.
But because he is who he is, he keeps her so sheltered. She's gonna want to branch out and do things, and she might have done it the wrong way. You gotta give her props. Like, she was right there, like, no, this is not what I'm about to do. She stuck up for herself. She beat up old dude, so it's not like she's completely undefended. Like, she didn't necessarily. I wouldn't say I don't like her for it. She clearly, I'm sure she's gonna be the one that's all for it when she finds out who her dad is. Like, okay, her and her sister were both very strong, and they handled theirs. So I'm not gonna say
so far,
she pissed me off.
That's a thumbs up for me. I'm invested. I'm gonna keep watching. Raya, what's your take?
I'm definitely gonna keep watching. I'm not hooked yet, but I definitely like it so far.
You're not hooked. See, this is why we is our own worst enemy. We gotta support it. Get out there until they get to making us look embarrassingly bad. But right now, it ain't there. But moving on, 2017 was a hell of a year for comic book films. 9 different comic book films. We'll never see an era like this again. We say that, and we just keep getting more comic book themed films from Fox, from Sony, from Warner Brothers and DC, from Disney with Marvel. There's still the Image books that can be tapped in. There's still the Dark Horse books to be tapped into. There's still the non-mainstream DC and Marvel characters to be tapped into. But I'm saying it right now. I don't care what anybody say. We'll never see another time like this again, so enjoy it while you can. But that being said, me and Meriah, we're going to give our rankings of the 2017 comic book films. Meriah, you go first.
Okay, but you're not going to like the way my list goes.
Please don't let me down.
All right. Well, my ranking starts with Lego Batman.
Oh, come.
It starts with Lego
Please
Batman.
justify this crap. Please justify this.
The reason I like Lego Batman is not only because it's a comic book that is in Legos, so it interests children, which will get more interest in the whole comic book era in general, but also I'm not a big fan of Batman, and the fact that they touched on all his...
Wait. You're not a big fan of Batman?
I'm Superman all the way, so obviously I have an issue with Batman, and the fact that he's low-key psychotic and nobody ever wants to touch on those facts. But Lego Batman did. They touch on the fact that he's lonely and that he's not a good leader and that he's, a little crazy, which he is. If you pay attention in all his comic books, he's still upset about his mom and dad being killed, so he puts himself in these dangerous situations because he low-key wants to die.
No, I'm going to go ahead and say people have had traumatic issues that they still don't let go of. People have been embarrassed in high school and they won't let go of. People have all kind of, in my opinion, dumb issues. He had his parents shot in front of him. Come on.
Very
Cut
true.
him some slack.
I'm not trying to belittle that. I'm just saying that they try to make him out to be this great superhero with this great code of ethics, and he doesn't. He's low-key crazy, and he's not like Superman with his morals so high that he doesn't believe in killing. Batman comes pretty close to being a killer a few times. But that's a conversation, a debate for another time.
Yeah, I'll let it slide for now. Continue.
I just like the Lego Batman take. I like the fact that it can appeal to children and get them into comics early on. So I like the Lego Batman would be my first. Justice League would be my second. I think they did an amazing job with casting. And again, they cut on Batman being what I said he was too. I'm
noticing a theme here. You see anything that makes Batman look bad, you are all for. I don't know.
That's not necessarily true. It doesn't make Superman look the greatest, and he's my favorite superhero. Justice League kind of made him seem a bit crazy, and the storyline didn't necessarily sit well with me. But I like the fact that in Justice League, he admits his faults. He says, Superman is more human than me, and he's not even a real human. So he's a completely different race. But anyway, Justice League would be number 2. Spider-Man would be number 3, mainly because my son loves Spider-Man, and I like the new, fresh take they have on him with still being to some of the classic storyline. Okay. Wonder Woman, of course, because she's amazing, and I also like the fact that they cast older women as the Valkyries. It's a sexist thing in Hollywood, and the fact that they did that.
Well, you mean the Amazonians?
Amazonians, yes. Sorry, they're Valkyries to me.
I gotta keep your geek cred. Gotta keep your geek cred for you.
But they're Valkyries. It touches on religion and everything, just like Odin is a Viking, and I'm sorry, this is a whole religion thing that I just can't get into right now. They're all the same. Kingsmen, they are. I'm not going to debate this with you right now, though.
Yeah.
Kingsmen, just because the action in that movie was amazing, and I'm obsessed with everything English.
I will co-sign both of that, yes. Although, I'm a little mad there was not a black British woman in there. Like, can we get that? Halle Berry is nice, but come on.
She wasn't English, yeah. Very true, because a lot of English women are black. Since Jamaica is so close to England, it's like a lot of that mix, Jamaican and English. Everywhere I live, it's crazy. Guardians, I'm not familiar with the storyline. I loved the first one. The second one was a bit emotionally driven for me, but it was still pretty great. Thor, I really liked Thor, but it ranked pretty low because of the whole Hulk part of the storyline.
Wait, what?
The Hulk never takes over for that long, ever. He's always been, it's a Jekyll and Hyde type situation, and I get that, but in the comic books that I've actually seen, he's never able to take over for that long. There's always a small driven force in the back of his mind that is David Banner, and he's always able to pull himself out, especially when he's done being angry. That's the whole thing, is when his heart rate spikes. I don't understand how the Hulk could have stayed in control for that long.
Okay, I can just hear my podcast juice compatriot, big sexy Mark Wiggins, just shouting, she doesn't know shit. I know she doesn't. Read Planet Hawk, World War Hawk. Yes, I will give that to her. Stop shouting. Stop shouting. I will make sure she gets that.
I did say from what I know. Again, I am young, like you like to point out, and I don't have a lot of the original comics. They're hard to come by. I have this new gen comics that are out now that is available
to me. Just move on. You're making yourself look worse.
I'm sorry. Okay. Valerian, and The City of a Thousand Planets. I liked it just because it was really cool. The graphics were amazing.
I can see that.
Fond of actors, but I don't think the little model chick, I don't remember her name. Cora something? I don't remember her name, but I don't think she's the greatest actress. And Logan would be last on my list.
I have a problem with that. Now, no, Logan wasn't a perfect film. I thought that the R rating was overrated. It didn't need to be so gory, and the cursing didn't, in my opinion, need to be there to tell the story that they did. But that's last. Come on.
Well, I don't know the original comic books, and the X-Men has a very long line of comics, but I don't like the fact that Logan died. I don't like the fact that one of the greatest mutants ever, Professor Xavier, died.
Okay.
I don't like the fact that they made a clone of Logan. They try for like ever and they never succeed. Manage to succeed, and that's who kills Professor Xavier. I don't like that. Not at all. Not at all.
You know, sometimes change is good, okay?
I know, but I can't. He's one of those. He doesn't age. He doesn't die. He's one of those characters, and I don't like the fact that I understand the actor himself was like, I'm done with these movies. They didn't have to kill him off. They could have done something else.
He does age. He just very slowly. But there's a story they told. I thought it was done beautifully. And you're just wrong. And I'll keep telling you you're wrong. And eventually you'll get it right. And that's what I'm here for.
Yep.
Now, on to a real list. Thank you very much. I have it right here. Now, last, Lego Batman movie.
What?
I don't need my Batman broken. He's already broken. I don't need him deconstructed and all that other stuff. I don't know what they were doing with that. It wasn't funny. It was darn near homophobic and pedophilic. But yeah.
And it touched on true facts.
Whatever. No. Bull. Meriah and the City of a Thousand Planets. I didn't know this was a comic book till a week after it released. And garbage. Beautiful, but garbage. Next, Kingsman, The Golden Circle. I love the original. And as you say, the action sequences in this film are great. The story makes no sense. I don't need to see Colin Firth trying to recover his memory and seeing butterflies when it comes time for action. They redid a number of different beats that were from the first movie. You didn't need to do that. See, this is why I feel Hollywood gets a bad rap, is that they feel that their audience is stupid and dumbed down, and the only way they will keep coming back to these films is if they repeat the same stuff. James Bond has 25 different movies? And a lot of stuff is not repeated. It's been going on since the 60s. So come on, Kingsman. That movie came out 2 years ago. You did not have to repeat so much of the same stuff.
Hey, Hollywood would be right half the time. Half these people are stupid, and they do need that. They need the fluffiness to come back.
Yeah. Number 6, Wonder Woman. Now, here's the thing. It was better than DC films that came before it. I like the fact that it diverged. It wasn't so dark. It showed light. It showed a lot of hope. It showed Wonder Woman wanting to be Wonder Woman, as opposed to Superman trying to figure out, who am I? What shall I be? And Batman, I'm too old for this shit, so to speak. But I'm going to take out Superman. I like that. A lot of people had a problem with the actor that they got cast as Ares to be the villain, and they're saying that he doesn't look imposing. I'm like, he's a god. Why does he have to look super swolled up like Bane? He's a god. Power should not be related to size. So get over that.
True, but I felt the same way about them casting Wonder Woman as Kat.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, I can't pronounce her name for anything, but I didn't like the fact that they cast her.
You know what? And I'm really excited that you said that, as I used to believe the same way. So it's refreshing to hear a woman say that. Now, I don't feel too bad, but in her 2 roles in BVS as well as Wonder Woman, and even in Justice League, I think she's really come into her own and owned the role. The only issue I have with her now is that accent, but seeing her stand with to really give off that gravitas as the character, I say, you know what? I was wrong. The size doesn't matter. My hat's off to her. She's doing it. I just don't like the accent. The accent, kind of hard to understand what it is she's saying.
I like the accent. She's supposed to be hundreds of years older than us, so speak the same way we do.
Okay, that's great for the character. But as the moviegoer, I need to understand what it is you're saying.
True, I get you.
And that's the problem I have.
My prejudice to her being too small for the role is because I'm going off, again, the fact that Valkyries and Amazons are the same, and I'm thinking of, like, Xena, and
True.
She was, like, the greatest. She fitted, she was big, she was toned. I feel like they should have made her bulk out a little bit more, just to have, muscle tone at least, because she's just straight skinny. There's no muscle tone there either, but honestly, you're right. She does portray the characteristics of Wonder Woman very well.
Exactly. And honestly, she probably just cannot get that body. Or at least she can't get that body without some enhancements, if you know what I mean.
I get it. I'm skinny. I can't get too much bigger either. So.
Yeah. Oh Lord, you just turned off a lot of our women contingent. They're like,
that's fine. I'm tiny. Unfortunately, I'm that friend in the pack that eats.
Stop talking. We want to keep our audience. Number 5, Guardians of the Galaxy. I was disappointed by this film. It had a lot of funny moments. I love the redemption of Yondu, Rocket Raccoon. He was a beast in this film. Mm-hmm. But overall, Ego and Peter Quill, I just wasn't feeling it. The fact that Nebula was just chasing down Gamora because Daddy loves you more than me. Yeah, I didn't like that either. It's like, shit, get over it. Seriously.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. From the comic books of Guardians of the Galaxy that I've seen, they got that entire storyline between the sisters and Thanos completely wrong, right? She loved her dad. She stopped him because she knew it was what was best for, the world. But she had a love for her dad.
Are you talking about Nebula or Gamora?
Both. They made it seem like they just hated their dad, and they didn't. In the comic books, they had a love for him. She wasn't mad because Daddy loved Gamora more. She was mad because she just wanted her sister. And because her sister was supposedly fighting for her life, too. They never got that relationship. She didn't care about that part. She cared about having a family.
Either way, it didn't work.
As far as the movie, no Nebula storyline. I do know, though, from the comic books I've seen, I'm not sure if they're the classic or the new gen comic books, but Gamora loves her dad. The only reason she took arms against him is because she finally saw the bad he was doing in the world. And she knew it was best for the universe to take him down. But it was an emotional struggle with her because she loved her dad.
Now, to get on my feminist soapbox, I had a big problem with the portrayal of Drax. I love Dave Bautista. He stole the show for me in the first one. This one, I don't know what... First of all, he really had nothing to do other than to be a big dumb jock. And a bully at times towards Mantis. If any female had a problem with that, I will be like, yep, go ahead, have at it. Because to me, it just seemed like it was cruelty and mean for the sake of what can we write him to say that would make this woman feel less of a woman. And I didn't like that.
His whole race is extremely literal, so it fit his character.
I didn't like it. I'm sorry.
He might have been verbally mean to her, but obviously he cared enough about her because they became friends and he's protecting her and he wanted to make sure she was safe. So I didn't have a problem with that part.
Wow. Well, hey, send your hate mail to her. My number 4, surprisingly, Justice League. I have been a DC hater for the past 3 to 4 years. I've been saying DC can't get right from life because they just can't get right. But this movie, I really liked it. Now, if you're looking for flaws in the film, if you're looking to nitpick, or if you're looking to just bash DC again, you will find them. There are some issues with this film. However, I enjoyed this film. There was good camaraderie between all the actors except for Flash. Oh man, I don't know what they were doing with that Flash.
I think they casted him amazingly.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
Nope.
First of all, that dude doesn't know how to run. How are you going to have a Flash that looks insanely goofy running when that's his power? That is his power. And he looks like a goddamn fool. He looks so uncoordinated. Now, they kind of made up for it at the end where he's running like a speed skater. And I'm like, all right, you can't run normally. Pretend you're a speed skater. And they ended up putting that into the film. But overall, I did not like Ezra Miller as the Flash, especially since we get Grant Gustin for 22 weeks out of the year with an amazing performance as a Flash. Now, he's not Barry Allen, but he's a dope Flash. I love the scene with Superman versus the Justice League, and I have said, damn it, that scene is just as good as the airport scene in Civil War. And maybe upon a second and third viewing, because I've only seen it once, that's how I kind of like to do these films, I might put it above it because we finally get to see Superman cut loose on the big screen. I've seen it in the comics, I've seen it in the cartoons with Justice League, Superman show, but in a big live action production, never seen it before, and it was dope. Especially when Flash swear he gonna sneak up on Superman. Superman just gave him that side eye like, yeah, you can come over here.
I think that they did a great job casting Ezra Miller as the Flash because they never touch on the fact that the Flash is fidgety, if that makes sense. Because he's fast, he's always moving. It's not just his body, it's his mind too. He's always on to the next thought, and they did great with that. Like the scene where he finally gets into the Batcave and he's like flashing around, hitting everything, or the fact that they're talking about something serious and he's like, look guys, I gotta eat. They did great, and he portrayed that really well for me.
And see, this is why I have you on the show, because you can bring that young, youthful energy and appreciate the things that I find are unnecessary.
It's not unnecessary.
What did I say?
Roles, they only do one or the other. They either get the Flash or they get Barry Allen. I think he combined the two great.
We'll put a pin in that for another day. Number 3, Logan. As much as I felt that the gore, the blood wasn't needed, I'm sorry, it wasn't. People keep fighting me on this. No, it wasn't needed. Once you see Logan put his claws through someone's head and blood squirts out, you don't need to see it 15 other times in the movie. That being said, I love this film. I will say this. Hindsight. Why was X-24 not a clone of Liev Schreiber's Sabretooth? That would have been dope. And it would have been all full circle. Because to me, Hugh Jackman versus Hugh Jackman does nothing for me. Now, Hugh Jackman versus Liev Schreiber? Sabretooth? That would have been bananas. But well acted. Patrick Stewart got robbed for any nominations. And oh my God, the young actress that played Laura, freaking amazing. I don't know if she's Latina. I probably should know this before I get to speaking, but she pulled that off perfectly.
She did. She did well with that.
My number 2, Thor Ragnarok. I love this film. Hilarious, at the same time introspective. People love to say Marvel, oh, there's no stakes in Marvel. The good guys are going to win in the end. Well, damn it. Thor Ragnarok, Marvel was not scared one bit to say, no, the good guy is not going to win in the end. And people look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, are you kidding me? Thor's hammer, destroyed. Thor's eye, gone. The Warriors 3, dead. And Asgard is destroyed. There were stakes. And the good guy didn't win. The good guys survived. So to me, to see that in a Marvel film is totally refreshing. And on top of that, there was a lot of comedy. Tessa Thompson. I think people were really overinflating her role, but she was really great as I would say, the disgraced Valkyrie who could not protect Asgard. And then they said, I'm just going to be out for myself. People have complaints about that. However, if you failed at your one job, kind of like, and we'll talk about this later, another show, kind of like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi.
Oh.
What? No, I would not take any Last Jedi slander from you. You're already not my favorite person right now, so I'm not going to take that slander. But if you're one thing you fail at, what do you think that would do to you? So I totally bought that. And if you cannot figure it out, of course, Spider-Man Homecoming is my number 1. Tom Holland, who I think plays the character just a little too youngish. In this film, he really brought it. I love the things that they did to update him. The suit with the AI in it. I love the fact that he can talk to her. And that's where we get a lot of our old school Spider-Man quips and monologuing. It's kind of hard to adapt that to a live action film. So for them to have him talking back and forth with this AI, perfect. It was a very diverse cast of characters. Love that as well. Even more so.
He played it really well too.
Even more so, something we talked about with Black Lightning, this was small stakes. You don't have to be trying to save the world. You can't do an extinction level event with every film. And they did this on a small scale. The Vulture, goddamn, Michael Keaton did the damn thing. I think I want them to cast him as every villain. I think he will pull it off. When he turns around with the gun, mind you, he's talking to Spider-Man. Now, the fact that he had the arrogance to just be like, I'll kill you. I'll kill everyone you love. And you were just looking like to myself like, that's Spider-Man you talking to. But he's like, nah, I'll take you out. I don't sweat you. I don't sweat Iron Man, the Avengers, none of that. Loved it. So that's my number one comic book.
I don't think he played it too young, though. I think a lot of people forget that Spider-Man was young.
Okay, see, here's where I got to school you again. Do you know what year Spider-Man graduated high school?
No.
1965, 2 years after his debut. So Spider-Man has been out of high school far longer than he had been in high school.
No, I know that, but I'm saying when the Spider-Man franchise in general started, he was young. He was like a sophomore or junior in high school. High school back then was very young. Like, the people were a lot more young-minded than they are now. Now you have these 17-year-old girls looking 27 and acting differently. But back then, you're young-minded. You're still playing video games at home and don't know. It's hard to explain, sorry. Young generation here. Can't really explain it to you, but he embodied the young person very well.
And another thing, the script. I am always in awe when you have these 30, 40-plus-year-old men, for the most part, that can write these scripts and write dialogue for teens. Now, I understand I'm far removed from being a teenager, but if you told me that that's how teenagers act, I would totally believe it, because they nailed it. They nailed the current teenagers, which is amazing. I don't know if they do a focus group or a study group or whatever, but I totally bought, yes, those were teenagers.
They're probably thinking back to when they were teenagers. Like I said, a different time. Teenagers then are different from the teenagers now.
Yeah, but those seem like teenagers now.
Not necessarily.
How so? You're closer to a teenager than I am. Explain.
How can I explain this? For instance, his best friend, the guy who wanted to be the guy in the chair. So I loved that reference in the movie. It reminded me of Kim Possible. But
Lord. For those of you who don't know, that's a Disney Channel show.
Wade was the guy in the chair, and they look similar too. But no, the fact that he's like,
wait, hold on. If I got you right, so there really is someone that's the guy in the chair?
Yeah, it's possible. She's like, the badass chick who's fighting crime, and the sidekick, the best friend who's an idiot and he doesn't really help at all. And then there's the guy in the chair, the tech guy who never leaves his house and does everything from his computer. And he's this little, I would think he would be like Samoan, but it's a cartoon, so it's kind of hard to tell. But he's, brown skin, dark hair. And he's the guy in the chair, never leaves his house. He's always on the mic with Kim, and he's like, "Oh, this is your way out," or "This is how many people are in whatever." Yeah, he's literally in a chair every time they show him in the cartoon.
Get the hell out of here!
No, it's that's why I loved the reference, because it reminded me of Kim Possible. But no, he's like, "Hey, Peter, I have the new Lego whatever. Let's build this." There is such a small percentage of kids
Lego Death Star. Come on. It's a Star Wars reference.
I know what it was. I'm just saying there's a very small percentage of kids in high school that still do any of that. Now it's like, let's go on Modern Warfare and kill some people. And it's like, it's cussing and it's slang and it's drugs and it's sex. And high school now is very different from when it was back then. There's not like a big debate team. But they played, like, again, they played that very well, because Peter is gangly and dorky and nerdy and a loner. And Spider-Man's the, hey, I'm awesome, quirky remarks, fighting crime.
Now, the one thing I will say is, and I think that they did better in the original Spider-Man franchise, is they show the duality of Peter is the loser, geek, and Spider-Man is the cool dude. And however, Spider-Man Homecoming, Peter was still a geek, but Spider-Man was this awkward, somewhat geek as well. He just had powers. I wasn't okay with that.
Why?
Because Spider-Man is supposed to be Peter's manifestation of what cool is, at least based on the comic book and in the films. But this Spider-Man, he was kind of bumbling, and now I get it. He hasn't been Spider-Man for that long, so maybe he needs
from what I'm getting,
man up.
This Homecoming, this is the beginning. He gains more confidence as he goes.
I don't know. I still want a little more confident Spider-Man.
In both personas. I like it.
Well, with that being said,
I like the diverse cast too, like you said. Well,
with that being said, perfect segue. 2018 is going to give us 9 more, in theory, or so far slated, comic book films. Black Panther, New Mutants, Avengers. Oh, Lord, stop it. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Sorry. Wasp, whatever. Deadpool 2, The Incredibles 2, Venom, X-Men Dark Phoenix, Aquaman, Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. Now, here are my top 3 anticipated films, and you're probably going to be shocked. Number 1, of course, Black Panther, the blackest film of all time. I hate to be big time in it, but old job. They've had the opportunity to work with Ryan Coogler, who is the director and writer on this film, and he's guaranteed this will be the blackest film of all time, which everybody keeps repeating as a mantra, and now I understand because that came, from what I've been told, directly from his mouth. So I'm hyped to see it. We'll get into this in a later show about why I'm giving some of my fellow blurs the side eye for Black Panther, but I'm hyped to see it because there's a lot of greatness that's going to be in this, and it's a good landmark film. Number 2, Avengers Infinity War. This is the second culmination of the Avengers franchise, and we get Thanos coming down here wrecking shop. I want to see how they adapt Infinity Gauntlet. I love that 6-issue miniseries. If you have not done it, you need to get your butt out there, find the trade paperback or find it on Comixology or Marvel, whatever. Read it. It's dope. You will thank me later. Lastly, surprise, Incredibles 2. The greatest Fantastic Four movie was the first Incredibles film. So you giving me Jack and the rest of them, I'm hyped, and I can't wait to see that on June 15th. What are your top 3?
You have to wait like 10 years for it.
Well, I think the thing is Pixar... I'm sorry, Pixar didn't like doing sequels.
No, I'm mad. We had to wait 10 years for this.
I'm sorry to tell you this. Pixar doesn't like doing sequels. But, you know, Pixar is owned by Disney. Disney's like, we about that money. Get out your feelings.
They should have from the beginning. That movie resonated more with adults than it did with children, which is crazy.
Not really. Brad Bird is awesome.
I'm mad we had to wait like 10 years for it. That's what I'm mad about.
But you're getting it and enjoy it.
My I'm super excited. That would be my number 2. My number 1 is Deadpool 2. My number 1 is that he's like my spirit animal. I am so in love with. I have a Deadpool fanny pack. I am so in love with Deadpool.
And I'm so mad there's a Deadpool fanny pack.
What?
I said I'm so mad that there's a Deadpool fanny pack.
Yes, they got it for me for Christmas. I have like Deadpool pajama pants and t-shirt, but you don't understand. It's a thing with me because my favorite character of all time that is Harley Quinn, which isn't a hero or a villain. She's an anti-hero, kind of like Deadpool, at least from my perspective, because she teams up with the good people a lot too. She's tired when she gets tired of, the Joker treating her horribly. But that, again, is a discussion for another time. Deadpool is amazing. His sarcastic jerk faceness is great. That's why he's my spirit animal. And the fact that they did so great on such a small budget compared to all these other hero movies, man, and they embodied him perfectly. Casting, the way that the movie was played out, even the credits in the beginning fits his storyline to a T. Everything about that is just perfect. It's the only way to describe it. It's perfect. So Deadpool would be my 1. Black Panther would be my number 2.
That's what we're getting anticipated for. We'll be there next month at a special screening for Black Panther, and we'll have not only our first impressions, but of course a spoiler-filled review. So make sure you're looking out for that.
Ooh,
moving on.
Slow clap? No? Okay.
Yeah,
I tried.
That's what you got. I give you a soul clap. How about that? Finally, moving on to our last segment, our quick hits. Hot off the wire, Stan Lee is in trouble. Stan Lee, of course, the creator of damn near everything Marvel, X-Men, Spider-Man, Avengers, all of that, Daredevil, Doctor Strange. Well, apparently he's an old pervert, allegedly. The 95-year-old reportedly is no longer a client of a nursing company due to a string of complaints that have been brought against him. Many of them have said he has asked for oral sex, groped them, and walked around naked. Meriah, are you buying this, or is this a money play?
whether it's true or not, what does it matter? These nurses have to deal with that in old folks' homes on a daily basis anyway. Older people, when they go, they lose their sense of right and wrong or decency, and the fact that he's walking around naked. Honestly, I have a friend that works in a nursing home, and she says she has to deal with things like this all the time. She has to deal with older gentlemen, not just white men, older gentlemen walking around naked or raising their eyebrows when they're getting sponge baths and all that. This is completely normal, and the fact that they're complaining about it is just ridiculous.
Oh, man.
Get fame and fortune on the fact that he's a famous older gentleman.
Wow.
The complaints would go unheard.
See, that's right, keeping it real for you, keeping it all the way real. I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to let it go. Just because he's written some of the best comic books that you enjoy doesn't mean he should get a pass. And I'm going to leave out on that. What's the next story?
No. My grandpa right now is not in his rightest mind. And he looks at my auntie very suggestively and raises his eyebrows at her all the time. And it's not necessarily it's a pass. It's just his mind's not all there right now. It's not that he gets a pass, but that's just how it goes when you start. And my grandpa's Hispanic, so...
You just threw two people under the bus.
But it's true. That's what happens. When you get older and you're not in your right mind and you can't determine, okay, this is completely wrong or this can cause issues. He's 95 years old. I'm just able to move around and comprehend lines enough to be in his movies, even though he only has like one line, one little cameo in each movie. He's still doing interviews and everything. I mean, come on now. It's bound to happen. He's going to make a fool of himself on national television sooner or later, too.
Okay, you guys can send your hate mail to her. Meriah, next.
I'm sorry. Well, rumor has it Spider-Man is going to appear in the new Venom movie. Is this a good idea on your half, or what are you thinking? Are you excited for it? Is it a bad thing?
First of all, I'm going to say Sony, you better have Spider-Man in that. You were able to broker a deal to get Marvel to produce your next Spider-Man film. And now you're already, which is kind of pimpish if you ask me. They're like, okay, thank you, Marvel. We're glad you reinvented our Spider-Man thing. We're going to use that and start branching out. So one is kind of effed up. But at the same time, hey, Marvel, you knew what you was getting in bed with when you signed up to do this with Sony. It's a smart move, plain and simple. Spider-Man was a big hit. You reinvigorated the character, get his ass in as many Sony Spider-Man films as possible. So, tip my hat to Sony.
I think it's a good idea.
Exactly.
I love those little cameos.
Next news story, and this one is near and dear to my heart. DC Comics released the news that Superman is returning to his classic costume for Action Comics 1000 cover. Now, there's a lot to unpack on that. One, Action Comics is finally getting to number 1000. I hate that DC and Marvel, for the most part, keeps renumbering this. I'm glad they're going back to their classic numbering. Two, I hated the new 52 costume. So, we're getting that. What say you, Meriah?
I love it. You keep telling me I need to embrace the change of things, which is fine. I'm all for progression, but I'm going to need them to keep certain things in the classics. I'm going to need them to keep the originals for a lot of things, or at least reference them. And the fact that they're going to reference it with his old costume, brings back my first love of him.
You know, yeah, you're the wrong person to be asking about this because I keep forgetting you're a huge Superman fan. Good Lord.
All the way. Batman can suck it.
Whatever. Next.
Okay, if we're going to be talking about classics, how about the fact that Men in Black is going through with the fourth spinoff slated for 2019? Let's steal Anthony's catchphrase. Is this first day dollars for you?
No, it's not. I love the Men in Black. I totally love the concept of the Men in Black. When I saw the first film, I'm like, wow, this is dope. The government, or as we learned, the secret agency has been hiding aliens on Earth. and then we can see all the different things that have been going on. They've been calling humans aliens. Michael Jackson was a member. I love the first two Men in Black. The second one was a love story with Rosario Dawson. That was dope. That third one, they kind of lost me. I don't know if it's because Tommy Lee Jones wasn't as invested in the film, so we got Josh Brolin. I wasn't really feeling it. However, if neither one, I really think they need Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones to come back and reprise those roles. But if not, going off in a spinoff and still giving us that core universe, I like it, but I ain't gonna be there on day one.
Nah. Yeah.
You need, I gotta wait for those trailers to come out. I gotta get the stories that's gonna come out. But for the most part, you're losing Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
Exactly. Will Smith embodies the whole Men in Black franchise.
Indeed. And the thing is the third film got a little bit longer too, which is strange because this is the problems that I have with Hollywood when it comes from the film studios to TV. They had, I believe, about 60 episodes of the Men in Black cartoon that they could have mined for stories. So I'm just not feeling this. No, this will not get first day dollars for me, and I'm giving it a side eye, especially if you're recasting the stars.
Yeah. It would have been better if they made him in the director's type position, Will Smith. Then I'd be like, hey.
Are you hearing that, Hollywood? Hire this girl. She has great ideas. Well, that'll wrap up our first inaugural edition. I think we did good. What you think?
Yes, and for all of our viewers out there that aren't feeling the whole comic book vibe, I would suggest watching a TV show called The Good Doctor. I'm pretty obsessed with that right now.
Oh, that's your recommendation of the week?
That's my recommendation of the week. I love it. I love the fact that it's about a doctor who's autistic but also has Eisenberg syndrome. I forgot what it's called. I think it's Einstein syndrome. So basically he's a genius, but he's autistic, which is a social disorder and a learning disorder, which completely blows my mind. And he's like a genius, but the main character is played by Freddie Highmore, and he does an amazing job as portraying an autistic person. He does great, and I am not the easiest person to impress when it comes to acting. I give him a lot of fights with people for that, but he does an amazing job, and it makes you feel smart. It's like Bones, but even better.
I never watched Bones.
What?
Take your word of it. No?
I loved that one too.
Okay, I'll watch the first episode, and if it doesn't hook me, I'm gonna give up.
I'm pretty sure it will, because the first episode was great. It hooked me. Again, it touches deep to my heart though, because my goddaughter is autistic. So the fact that it's such a diverse character, and it touches on some facts, some relevant facts now that is going on. One of the episodes touches on the fact that it's a woman doctor, and she's also a woman doctor of color, and a white, doctor who's above her hits on her, and the way that they handle it. So I love the show in general. Don't want to give any spoiler alerts because I want you guys to actually watch the show.
All right, and my recommendation of the week, and this might come off as a little bit of homerism, but it's Metal Gear Survive. Full transparency, I used to work for Konami. I heard about this game being in development. So when I woke up Friday morning and saw that there was a beta for this game, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and show my old coworkers some shine and download the game. Now, it's hard. It's a survival horror video game that matches up the world of Metal Gear with missile defense as well as zombies. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, but damn it, if it does not work for me, I have to create my own weapons. And actually, if you're familiar with the Fallout series, you should be very much used to and accustomed to this game. It's also very reminiscent of a game called 7 Days to Die, where you have 7 days to gather all your materials, fortify your base, build things, and then on the 7th day, here comes the zombies, and you have to survive the wave, which is where the missile defense tower defense aspect of the game comes in. So with Metal Gear, you do the same thing. And what I like more so about this is it's not just you against the environment. You're also going online and working in a multiplayer setting with people all across, well, for me, Xbox Live. And I'm building up my things. I'm strengthening my bow and arrow, which sucks. They start me off with a bow and arrow, an axe, and a pistol. And I have to survive with that. But whatever. I'm a G like that, so I'm going to level up and get all my stuff done right. So, you haven't? Say it again?
I'm a fan of bow and arrow, so.
Oh, Lord. Don't tell me you're a Daryl fan, are you?
I, in real life, want to learn to shoot with the bow and arrow, so.
Okay, I can't fuck with you on that. No.
All right, when the zombie apocalypse comes and I'm over here killing people from a distance.
I'm gonna be killing from a distance too with my gun.
Right, if you run out of ammo, then what? I can make arrows from trees, and there's a million everywhere. People want me on your team in the zombie apocalypse, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be on my team, period, because you're gonna be the one I'm gonna throw to first, so they can eat you while I run away.
I run faster.
No, I'm gonna throw you at the zombies.
And I'll still be able to escape, because I run faster.
Okay, I gotta see this. And before we get out of here, we like to do at this time is tell you where you can find us online. Meriah, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram and Snapchat at AKA Raya. That's AKARIAH. And my Twitter is Meriah Hudson.
Yes, please go follow her. She's a noob and she needs the followers.
I just started my Twitter, jeez.
When you do follow her, can you tweet at her? You need more than 20 tweets if you want followers. I'm just saying.
I got more than 20.
22 is not much better. And of course, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at antpooh. And as my brethren Michael Dean used to say, work it like a job. Peace.